Brother, are you there?
What's going on, man? I absolutely am. I was writing in our comment section to tell everybody that we've got a great guest and that we need to share our live broadcast to give you a chance to win some money, or not money, a book, which is money.
Yes. Well, it's better than money, especially the subject matter. Um, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Very excited to be back today. Every Wednesday is glorious. Love, love, love our hump day. How are you doing?
I'm great. We uh, we're moving into the closer and closer to the football season.
We
I
are.
hear the Cowboys of Dallas are going to, as Jerry would say, Oxnard, or Oxnard, California, and so everything's wonderful. We're just doing wonderful, and we're happy that we're able to do this again, back week to week.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
man.
so,
I was just talking to our guest offline here
mhm.
about how we're just trying to get everything back to normal in a very weird way. It's taking it feels kind of weird. A lot of things feel kind of weird. And when I heard they were going to California back to Oxnard, I was like, man, that's like incredibly normal because of everything that went on last year. So just excited, man, to see a lot of these things going the way they are.
Yeah, yeah, for
Hey man,
sure.
I've got something for you that I saw this morning. So in China, they released this 5G gadget.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know what to call it, but it's like a portable cart where they deliver KFC chicken to everybody, kind of like Uberish kind of deal, but nobody's driving it. Like it's just automatically and it's driving through the streets and stuff like that. And it
Oh,
got me thinking, man, things are getting a little crazy.
yeah. Domino's, I think,
Uh huh.
and I think it's Domino's. They're looping a commercial here, and we don't think it's true. Hell, in Texas, you know how Texas is, but they have this little buggy. I mean, it's four wheels, and it delivers supposedly deliver pizza
Right.
to your house. So it's probably that kind of thing. But you think it's real? I mean, there's
Well,
no way in heck it's real in Texas. I can tell
it
you that
looked it
much.
looked pretty real on the video, man. And people, it just stops. You order, you pay. They have like a little paying station. You grab what you need, you pay, and it moves on, man. And I'm like, dang, I just worry for humanity in the
Yeah.
future. You know what I
Well,
mean? It's
there's
crazy.
still that frontal lobe piece that we have that robots don't have. So I'm okay. I mean, and by the way, if they ever take over, if they're going to serve all our needs, I'm okay with that because then we won't need money, and they won't need money. They won't need whatever.
That's true.
Hey, I got some other news for you.
What's up, man?
So last night, you know that I've been playing in what I call the old man's golf tournament.
Yes.
We
Hmm.
play 9 holes every Tuesday, and I don't know if any of those guys listen, but we effectively won last night. Our little tournament, but the best part of this is we are actually enjoying and having fun playing golf, and we actually play a little better. I mean, we actually make the shots that matter, and those pars and those birdies and those that stuff that golf is that golf is made to do. So yeah, last night we concluded in a victorious fashion, man.
That's awesome, man. I mean, in golf, you never know, right? You never know which way the ball is going to fly. So that's good. That's very good to hear. I did see some pictures and some comments on Facebook, man, and it's a pretty neat tournament. Looked like it was pretty neat. That's
Well,
awesome.
let me tell you my wins on golf. Number one, I haven't in this whole tournament, which is about I don't know 8 weeks.
Uh
I
huh.
think I lost a total of 6 balls over that many rounds. And then uh, I still don't have a short game. I mean, I can hit the ball 1,000 miles
Right.
from the tee
Right.
box,
Right.
and I can halfway putt,
Uh huh.
but that in between. But I realized, well, I realized one thing in this whole thing is that I'm down to about, let's say, three or four. Well, we call them sticks, but three
Yeah.
or four Yeah,
Shots.
let's just call it, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean sticks. It's a driver, and then maybe an 8 or 9 iron.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And I was like, I know what these guys are talking about now,
Yeah.
because when you get a little better, you
Mhm.
you don't need as many tools. We carry a bag with 4,000 tools in there, nothing we use, just to look cool. But anyway, uh,
Or we don't know what to use for what. Yeah. No, I
right,
got you, man. That's good, man. I would definitely call those wins, man. Golf is not easy sport.
yeah. Well,
For
anyway,
sure.
hey, so I'm going to be driving the train until our producer, if he's probably not going to be able to come tonight. So I'm going to ask our viewers to have a little patience with me because I haven't done this in a long time. Uh,
Yep.
But with that, let's get it started. Let's get it
Absolutely.
going. My name is Javier, and we are Problems.
And my name is Jorge and Opportunities. I want to welcome everybody this evening to our podcast. Very, very excited. We do have a returning guest today. My brother will introduce her here shortly. But, our podcast for our new viewers and even current viewers, it's really focused about how to turn opportunities from problems. Not every problem has to remain a problem. And we were told a while ago that, for every problem, there's always an opportunity. And we embrace that message so much that we've actually made now producing a podcast around it. My brother and I come in here. We try to hope, every week, and we try to bring guests in here. Nobody or anything in specific, just somebody that has, that desire to help us relay this message. And we do it every week, and we do it very, very joyfully with our guest. So with that, my brother, you can introduce our returning guest.
Yes, and just for metrics, as they say, on the first episode when we interviewed Jessica, it's probably been the most viewed of our shows for sure, and we've told her that this is not a surprise because her subject matter, her journey, her willingness to continue to fight is just unprecedented. It's one of the greatest things we've ever seen. But just as a brief intro, of course, we know Jessica from back in our, barrio of beloved Socorro, back in the years of high school and back in the years where we were all, young and beautiful, as they say. That's where we met her. Her career back then was the beauty business, as I call it. I apologize the last time because I wasn't sure if that was correct. But her company, her entire, activity was that on social media, everything we saw. And then one day her life changed. She had a life changing moment, which I'll let her tell you about. But gosh, it's so great to welcome back and introduce once again the great Jessica Bustamante. Jessica, we're so glad you are back with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I cannot complain. I am blessed to be here, Javier, and so blessed to actually, give the information to other people who are going through this. That
Mhm.
is my new passion, as you said it.
Mhm.
And if there's anything that I can do, as long as I have a voice, I'm going to keep on, speaking truth to the world because I believe that, especially with this topic and
Mhm.
it's a rough topic. I believe with all my heart that we can prevent what the numbers are rising to be if we just truly learn how to live a better lifestyle.
And
Absolutely.
Jessica. I mean, you couldn't speak since our last show. I've talked to so many people about what you lived through, your message, your books. Whether it's something big or something small, and it has given a new life to the meaning of what we can do to help ourselves, right? Whether it's cancer, it doesn't have to be cancer, right? It can be something else. And I
Hmm.
think you really, really lighten up another level of just having faith, right?
Hmm. Jessica, just for the folks who, the few who didn't watch the last time, tell us a little bit. I mean, I said it real briefly. Let us know who you are, how you got here, and where we're going.
Well, my name is Jessica Bustamante. I was born, raised in El Paso, Texas. Like Javier said, we went to high school together, Socorro High School at that. Um, you know, I, when you're growing up, you have all these dreams, you have all these plans, ambitions for your life. And you know what? I mean, that's just part of life. For me, I went into the beauty industry. I was a hairdresser. I owned salons. I worked for a huge manufacturer. And I mean, the plans I had for my life back then was not at all what I had today. I was actually on my way to be like the next platform artist. I was known to be a colorist. That was my passion. I loved, transitioning women from one way to the other when they looked in the mirror to fall in love and say, there's that sexy girl. You know what I mean? And, it's so crazy how, I used to do people in the chair to make them feel good. And then one day in 2014, I got a diagnosis of breast cancer, which led me in the chair and actually having to, face the fact that my life would change, my whole appearance would change. And, I just had to embrace it and become strong. That's not an easy thing for women. And that's why I, decided to write these books because, so many people going through cancer, not only are they not prepared, nobody's prepared to hear those words, but then to actually go through it, it's so life changing. You know what I mean? And nobody's there to like help you, build that confidence back, or who do you speak to? In my case, it was even that much worse because you can go from, okay, you have cancer and you're going to go through, treatments, and then you'll have your life back. The goal is to go into remission. Well, in my case, I was told I would never be in remission, and I was only given 1 year to live back in 2014, Javier.
That's amazing, and that is, let me do the math. I should know math. That's at least 7 years ago, right?
7.5 years, correct.
That's
In
that's
in August, or actually September of this year, will be going on 8 years that I
mhm,
started my journey, because that's where I started my breast surgery, and then it went on from there. Mhm.
right. Real quick, and we forgot, and we promised her we would do this in our little intro. So for those of you watching or who will watch, first of all, the deadline for this is this coming Monday, whatever date that is. Let me look real quick. That will be July 19th. July 19th, Monday coming, is the deadline for what we're about to say. So Jessica is the author of more than one book, and we're going to do a giveaway today for those. Last time there was a lot of interest in her books, and I know there's going to be interest today. So she's going to do a giveaway not only of a book, but of an autographed book by her. So what we need you to do is one of two things: is either share the show that you're watching today, so that of course the message can keep going, and that'll give you an opportunity to put your name in. We've done this before, and we've had success with it. So make sure and share. Make sure and do that. We should have said that in the beginning, but we're saying it now. So please make sure and share that that message, because it's very powerful for that. Jessica, last time, you have this life-changing diagnosis. I don't think the last time I asked you this, and I wanted to, because we talked about our mom and the situation there. But how do you go from being this? You were on the way to be, just a phenomenal career and things like that. How does that? Talk a little bit about how that changes from one day to the next.
Javier, it was really hard. I mean, to be honest with you, I do understand, where people can go into depression once they hear those words. You have cancer and it's terminal. I think for me, I want to say that I was in a time of my life where I still had a 16-year-old at home, and I was a single mom. I was working. I owned my own salon. I had, hairdressers, that worked for me in the salon. So I had a lot of responsibilities. When they told me terminal, I didn't go into like, oh my God, this is it, and only focused on, I want to say the death sentence, but I had to focus on, wait a minute, I have my son, who's going to put food on the table. I didn't want nobody else raising my child. You know what I mean? I wanted to see him graduate and walk. I had, again, responsibilities with, hairdressers. I needed to figure out what the next move was going to be, with my career. I didn't know. I had no idea what the future would hold. I really did not. And I had to do a lot of changes. In saying that, I'm glad that I did, because, there's so much that in this 7.5 year journey that I have learned. And I'm going to discuss a little bit of that. I went to a DNA specialist, okay, a doctor in Austin. And I remember when I walked in the doors, I asked him, if I genetically was negative, why did I get cancer? I was still in the why. Everybody always wants to know the answer why.
Right.
And he looked at me and said, Ms. Bustamante, can I tell you something? And I said, yes, please. And he said, do you want to know what my top 3 professions are for cancer? And I said, oh my goodness, don't tell me hairdressers. And he was like, that's number 3.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what?
Wow.
What do you mean? And he's like, Ms. Bustamante, my hairdressers, it is very common. And, I don't want to alarm anybody. We're not here to put fear into anybody, because I know that I have a lot of hairdressers that follow me. Now, we are taught, I did nothing but professional lines, okay?
Yeah.
So we were taught, hey, this is safe. But here's the thing. I mean, I was a hairdresser for, almost 30 years of my life, doing between 8 to 10 colors a day, 6 days a week, on my feet, not taking care of me. Again, there was a lot of roles, nutrition. I put myself on the back burner. I wasn't taking care of my nutrition like I should have. And then 2, all the chemicals. There was times where I would wear gloves, what times that I wouldn't. Hairdressers do this. Now, when I found out a lot of this, okay, I was like, but I don't understand. I was so angry, Javier, because I was like, we're told that these products don't affect us. So then why are they being sold out there if they know that with time, like it, it could play a factor in our health? And he said,
I'm sorry, the almighty powerful dollar.
Yep. I was about to say the same thing.
And his answer was, Ms. Bustamante, unfortunately, there's no money in healing. There's no money in, and you should have seen. I will never forget that day, Javier. Tears rolled down my eyes, and then I started to go into a different mind frame, and I thought, wait a minute. Now I have a different, responsibility to the hairdressers out there to come up and at least speak out for them, because they don't know. And if they knew, what I knew, could they prevent what has happened to me one day? And here's the thing. Yes, it can. There are many IV drips that they can go in a holistic, clinic and get where it can, get the IV. It's called an EDTA, okay? And what it does is it releases toxins and heavy metals from the body. Had I known that, I'm just saying it would have been one form of, preventative. We can't go back to the past, but I can only speak for what I know now. And of course, I should have played a better role with better nutrition in my life. As hairdressers, money talks. At the time you're young, You think, oh, this is more important. I don't want to put myself on the back burner. My next appointment's coming in. So guess what? There went lunch. I wouldn't eat until I got home. These are very bad habits
Right.
that played a role and eventually caught up to me.
Well, Jessica, this is not going to make you feel better, but I'm a mortician or a funeral director as well, and we work with a lot of really bad chemicals, and they've gotten a little better since the days of arsenic, but it's kind of the same thing as far as the exposure, the warnings, but I'm almost 50. I'm closer to 50 than 40.
Right.
And at this, I totally agree with you, because we're never taught that really if you can stick to the fundamentals, which is to take care of yourself first,
Right.
nutrition, exercise is the basic stuff, which we don't do because we don't eat. We skip meals to do our job, to serve our clients, to do whatever it is we're doing. If we can just not do that, yes, there's an exposure, there's an element, right there, but if we can just, nobody tells you that. Nobody says yes. So
yeah. And here's the scary thing. Let me just give it to you. Even with my diagnosis, even with a diagnosis, nobody still to this day, Javier, any hospital, and I've been to many leading hospitals out there, not one has even given me a nutrition class.
Oh, yeah. We could probably speak about that for forever, Jessica.
Right.
I mean, I think on our last show, no, I don't think, I know that in our first show we talked, I talked a lot about mental health. Right. And when you get diagnosed and everything that happens, as we went through it, and I really feel mental health, not only with the patients but the patient's family, it gets put on the back burner. Mm-hmm. I mean, the very first thing everybody wants to talk about is chemo and radiation, and what are we going to do to fight this cancer, just medically and stuff like that. But as we went through it with my mom, for almost 5 years, I was like, how are we helping her mentally? How are we helping ourselves mentally, right? Right now you were talking about, how hairdressers and top 3 professions. So, I mean, my mom for most of her life was was at home, right? Was a housewife. But I do know that there's been a lot of talks about home cleaning products and the effect,
yes,
that they can have in ourselves and things like that. So, I don't think there's anything out there that you can say, well, this is the least, even in my profession as a realtor, real estate agent, I can think of maybe 5 things that can be harmful to my health, Jessica, what talk us briefly about how you dealt with your mental health as you were first starting to go through this.
You know what? I think for me, it was just going through the motion at the beginning. Nobody's ever prepared. When the doctor told me terminal, I'll be honest, with that specific doctor, really, really, and excuse me, but he pissed me off.
Would have pissed me off too.
Yeah.
I mean, and let me tell you, this guy, he wasn't, and I understand that doctors are trained not to be emotional. I get it. But he was just like, bam, cold. It was to the point. It was next. And it was like, you're out the door. I didn't even have time to process. And there wasn't like, okay, do you have questions for me? There was none of that. There was no explanation, no nothing, Javier. And I was like, so what do people go out with? Fear.
Yep.
And fear takes over. Anxiety, depression. You go into a hermit. You stay home. You shy away from your friends. You shy away from your family.
Yep.
You go into this, nobody understands me.
Yep.
So then you're on your own. You feel alone. Mm-hmm. But what I want people to understand is that 40% of right now, 40% of the United States will or has already cancer.
Yep.
40%.
Yep. That's almost 1 in 2.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're not alone. The question is, let's now start, talking about topics that will help one another. Stop looking at, like, as Javier said, chemo, radiation, all these things, for me, in my opinion, are band-aids.
Mm-hmm.
We need
Yep.
to get down to the root of the problem. What is cancer? What
Mhm.
caused it? How did it get in my body? And
Mhm.
can I eliminate it or keep it dormant? If
Right.
I created it and it was created in my body, then how can I put it to sleep? Is it possible? That was what I went on. And I was determined, Javier, to
Yeah.
find answers.
Absolutely. So first of all, let's go find that doctor, and I have some friends. I still have some friends in Colorado that can take care of that.
Oh, nice. Thank you. I hired him the first
Yeah.
day I ever saw him again.
You know, a lot of doctors are scientists, and you and I, and we have some good friends that are doctors and nurses.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not negative on them, but
Yeah.
you know, sometimes there's no bedside manner of talking to someone and you know, and given a diagnosis like this. I sometimes I think about the day our mother was told this, and I wonder how that was, you know, shared. So I totally get that. But you've gotta. I mean, in my business, we're already on the other side, right? It's already happened, and our job is to make that event, that process, the funeral service, something that, number one, is memorable, and number two, you know, transitions them from that initial shock to the rest of the mourning process, because it is a process. And if you don't have that, you have no business being in the business, and we talk about that all the time. But anyway, that's
Well,
we
you know, and it's kind of two things. I mean, the first is what I have very a difficult time processing is when you're told, right? You're giving your diagnosis, and then so you have to go through that process, and then the second one is, okay, now how am I going to tell my family and kind of go through that? I can't process that. I know what it looks like because we've lived through it, but I don't know if I can even process it. And you know what, Jessica, I'm gonna even venture out and say that 100% of us, you know, have that potential of because what is cancer, right? It's your own cells going bad. In layman's terms,
Right.
that's exactly what it is. So
Okay.
at any point, I mean, you already have these cells in your body, exactly how you said it, right? Jessica, I'm gonna read you off some comments here that we're having on our live feed, but we have Claudia Saavedra, who's so she wanted to first tell you that you look beautiful, and thank you for your encouraging words. So she personally was told 8 years ago that by this time she would be in bed, she would be bedridden. She was diagnosed with MS, but thankfully, thank to God, she's doing great overall. That was her comment on Facebook.
Amen.
hmm I think you know a lot of what we're talking about. You know, just we get very passionate, but at the same time, gosh, I wish you know somebody could hear us out. You know, when we talk about like what are the strong habits, and I think you're a big start to this, if you want to call it movement, right? Because you know, in my end, mental health. I mean, I think about that every day, and just
You know,
you
yeah.
know, it's
Javier,
because your mind control everything that happens, right? Whether it's the rest of your body, whether it's your surrounding, whether it's other people, things like that. It's very powerful, and I don't think they pay enough attention to it.
Javier, I'm going to tell you, when you were talking about, you know, I remember when I received the news, and I have, I'm just going to be real about what my story was.
Yeah.
I was alone, first
Yeah.
of all, when I was told.
Yeah.
And I remember on the drive home, I, I mean, I was falling apart.
Hmm.
I had the radio full blast.
Yeah,
I mean, if
sure.
anybody saw me driving by, they probably thought I was a wacko,
Yeah,
because I had to let out my emotions,
right.
that
Oh,
scream, that
absolutely. Yeah.
whatever, because I knew that when I went home, I had to face my kids, and
Yeah,
and I had to let my son, my 16-year-old know
yeah,
what was going on, and I didn't
right.
know how he was going to take the information. And the last thing, as a mom, I wanted was to affect his football,
Right.
his high school. You know what I mean? I wanted him to continue to, go to homecoming and prom and still do those things, and let mom worry about mom. Let mom worry about health. And as long as you see mom okay, then, don't worry. I did let him know, but it's so funny how, you're dealing with different personalities. My older son, to this day, it has always been my rock, Daniel.
Hmm. Hmm.
He calls even now like 3 4 times a day. Mom, how are you? Mom, how are you doing? Mom, I mean, he was there for my surgery. He's been there. You know what I mean? My other son, it was more like he knows, and I know he cares,
Yeah,
but he's just more quiet, and he's
yeah,
like on standby and just watches everything,
right.
but in his own little way, he's just like, and we've grown throughout these 7.5 years. Even he has his podcast, and
Yeah,
he's had his own challenges, especially as a
yes.
football player, as tiny as he is, things that he's had to challenge. And I'm like, I feel like maybe even me going through this made him a stronger person. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in their minds, even now, I mean, for the ones that don't know, my older son, the one I was talking to you
Hmm.
about, Daniel, he was
Who?
in a motorcycle accident, and it
Hmm.
was a scary call. I mean, when I
Hmm.
got the phone call, I was like, how bad? I mean, my
Yeah.
heart sank. I
Mhm.
didn't know. He did. He's got broken wrists, broken
Hmm.
fingers, broken ribs, torn ligaments, fluid in his lungs. Thank
Hmm.
God he got out of the hospital. He was in a wheelchair, and as of
Hmm.
today, I know he's in crutches.
Yeah.
All those blessings, I praise God.
Right.
All those things, I give it to God. I take the negative and the hard, and I'll turn it into a positive. Even as he calls me, he's 25, 26 years old. You know what I mean? They're young. So he's like, Mom, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Why? Because your body and your mind tell you two different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes my body and my mind thinks it can do things, and it can't, Javier. I come to a halt.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my goodness. And that's the frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then you got to step back and say, you know what? It's okay. You
Yeah.
know what? Tomorrow's tomorrow. And God gave me the day, and I'm still awake. I still have a voice. You know what I mean? You just you gotta keep on looking at the positive and let go of anything that is going to affect whatever, I guess, great outcome you're going to have. Because if you don't, then you're going to keep on sinking into that
Yes.
depression. And that's what most people do. They
Yeah.
believe the time frame given, and a lot of the times to the day, that's
Yeah.
all they have.
Well,
Now,
I think, yeah.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Jessica. What I was going to say is that I think the difficulty with the family, right? When you got to communicate to your kiddos, your husband, I think the difficulty with cancer is that you tie it to death, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's where, as soon as you hear the word cancer, that one of the great things that my mom was able to do and accomplish was that she was able to tell us, when she gave us the news, she was able to tell us, you know what? I'm not tying it to death, and I need you guys not to tie it to death either.
Yeah.
Right? We're gonna fight this battle, and we're gonna go through whatever we have to do. First her surgery, then after that her recovery, then after that chemotherapy. I mean, and she I want to say she extended her life, close to 5 years, right? But it was so, one of the interesting things that you're saying is that my mom, she always was very good at game planning, right? For just to use a sports term, but
she could have been a professional team manager for
oh,
sure.
absolutely. Like she was never the type just to pick up the phone and call you and tell you, hey, I have cancer or whatever, right? She would take a week to game plan. And then she would never have difficult conversations over the phone. She would
No.
always call us in, ask us to go to her house, and then she would.
Yeah.
How she did it, I don't know how she would. I mean, God, it's like very difficult conversations to have with your kids, your husband, whoever. But she would always have them in person, and then she would always tell us, "This is the plan. This is what's going to happen, and we're not going to tie it." At the end, Jessica, when she had to go to hospice. You also tie in hospice to death. I mean, like bottom line,
Right.
right?
Right.
And she would tell us, but we're not going to tie it into death. I'm going to go to hospice because I need your dad to rest. I need you guys to be, to be safe. We need other people to help me out. But this is not because I'm dying. This is because I just need, to go out and rest, give everybody a break. I mean, it was wonderful to see.
Yeah. And Jessica, as I was listening to your story, the first thing you said when you were diagnosed was not, what am I going to do? What's going to happen is, how am I going to tell my children? And that is, I hope people understand how things like that resonate with us, because the message that, like my brother was talking about, my mom, when she prepared for end of life, she did it all for us and how it was going to affect us, because we were going to remain in the world. So I just, I want to give you, I wrote in my notes when you started talking, I want to give you a PhD, an honorary PhD in how you have totally, I don't like to use the words kids use nowadays with crushed and killed and stuff like that, but I will today. How you crush this situation, because you have. I mean, you're such an inspiration for how this has gone for you, and how you've treated it, how you found. I mean, you keep digging. You keep. There's a. I don't want to call it a cartoon, but there's an animation where, one guy's digging, and the other guy's digging. He's almost to the diamonds. Have you seen that? Have you seen that one? I don't know if you have, but one guy gives up and the other guys keep digging, and he gets to the goal. And that's the exact kind of message that you bring, which is why it's so great to have you on the show, because
Javier, I think a lot for me is, I think throughout the journey, I when it comes to strength, okay, I really, really, really have to give all that glory to God, because if it wasn't for God, Javier, honestly, and him helping me, know what my true purpose, I guess, is in life, um, I wouldn't be the person I am today. A lot of people, because of these topics, and let's get real, um, they're hard. I've even had a pharmacist, okay, between, we're on the show. He told me once,
yeah.
Miss Bustamante, you understand, you know, um, how difficult and what position you're actually putting yourself when you come out and you're helping people, and you're speaking up for what is actually working for you.
Yep.
And I said, I understand what you're saying. I said, but here's the thing. I was given death. I was given 1 year. And I'm like, if I, it right now, the way I feel, the way my whole heart is that if I don't speak up and I did what, everybody else does, I think, when are we going to get to change? When is change ever going to happen? I think that people are aware, but a lot of us just kind of like brush it under the brush because A, we're not going through it. B,
Yep.
it hasn't happened to us.
Mm-hmm.
Or, but when you think 40% of the United States is coming down with cancer,
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge statistic now.
Yep. Yep.
I don't care what, chemotherapies and all these new medicines and dollars, when they say we're trying to get a cure, you know what? In my eyes, Javier, I feel like we really need to start looking at the system for what
Yep.
it is,
Yep.
because um, obviously something's not working. We
Yep.
have kids that are now with cancer. Just look at you know all these St. Joseph, St. Mary's, and all these children
Mm-hmm.
hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
Cancer didn't exist in kids before. So
Yeah.
if we're not winning, if something's not working, then when are we going to get down to the problem of the solutions, right? In order to, you know, help the situation for everyone. The way I look at it is if we keep going the way we're going,
Mm-hmm.
if our children live to 50, that's going to
Yep.
be a long life.
Yep.
And that's wrong. That's not the way to think.
Exactly.
We
Isn't
need
it?
to get back to the biblical times where they lived into 100 and 120 years old.
Right. 70. And we have, I'm sorry, and we have billionaires. Sorry to interrupt. We have billionaires, because they can fly into space in this age, and the stuff that, I mean, I'm not going to get political. I'm not going to get, whether that's right or wrong. I have no interest in the space program.
Right.
I appreciate their work, because actually, if they hadn't done what they had done, you and I wouldn't be able to communicate. But that's not the point. But yes, so much energy and resources and stuff can be redirected to some of the most basic things in life, because it all goes back to the basic things, which is what people don't understand. Which it starts right there, right?
You're correct.
It starts.
And for that reason, I wrote these two books. Cancer Void, gives you a direction of how my journey started, what I was learning in the process. I started, I educate people on how I transitioned to better nutrition, stuff like that. I do talk about IVs. I talk about supplements. I talk about a lot of things that they're going to benefit out of this book. But then it's like your brother said, what happened to the emotional part?
Yep.
So then I put Cancer Guiding Light, because when it comes to the emotions of both sides, I wanted both sides to understand what one is going through, so that you're able to understand what I'm going through, the person going through it. How do you how do you have a good support system? And at the same time, how do I come to you and help you transition into, don't worry, we got this, and we come together as a family, as a support group, the way it should be. Because so many people out there don't have that. It's either they feel isolated and nobody's there, and then you are on the other side, only hurting and grieving because you're losing, your loved one. And you feel helpless because there's nothing you can do.
Right.
You can't take that chemo for me, for your mom. You know what I mean? And so all you can do is just be there, but you feel like helpless. And so in this book, I talk about, how do you get through the hardship? How do you, if you're in a relationship like I was, I have a partner, what did I go through in that journey? And how do you build a stronger connection instead of drift apart? I've seen many couples that divorced because of cancer.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be that way.
Short interruption. Wonderful partner, by the way. I met him. Wonderful partner.
He is amazing.
God bless him. Go ahead.
And what I was going to say, just sorry to interrupt as well, but you don't have to be, how do I say this, familiar with cancer, like have cancer in your life in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to knock on wood for everybody, but these books are wonderful to read for anybody. right? I think that it does provide a perspective of exactly what you were talking about. See, I think the problem with change is that we all rely and go by what the professional says, professional oncologist, right? That's what I'm referring to, and I think that the bottom line is the change is going to be a big part of it is faith, right? You got to have faith that some of these things that you're talking about and what you talk about in your books will work, right? Are going to make
Absolutely.
are going to make that change, are going to help you so that you don't have to go through the professional way of doing things. It's
Correct.
I'm sorry, I know that's a hard statement to make, but
No,
I think
and
it's
and
one that
he
has to be made. You know what I
and
mean?
you're correct. You're correct 100%. When people come to me, I'm not a doctor. I will never tell you what to do and what not to do. I will never tell you, or treat you in the sense where, medications and no, no, no. I'm not a doctor. What
Wait,
I will
I
give you,
just I just awarded you a PhD.
I
You are
know.
a
I
doctor now.
You
know,
are a doctor.
right?
I was about to say.
I know, right? But what I will do is I will share what has worked for me as the patient going through it, and to give hope to others that if I can get through it, so can they, because I'm in no different than any of you. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm not, I don't have the millions of dollars that,
yeah,
in your mind. I don't want people to think, oh my gosh, well, I don't have millions of dollars to keep me alive. Well, let's be real. That's why I didn't go to Mexico. I wanted
yep,
to. I
yep.
wanted to. But guess what? I can't afford it. So what did Jessica have to do? I had to research, well, what kind of things are they doing? What's working for them out there? And
Yep.
what can I do that is in my control that I can afford? Little changes that I did. And guess what? I'm still
Hmm.
here today. So if you're looking at me here, then I'm giving you hope that there is resources out there, that you don't have to be a millionaire to do
Yeah.
it. But at the same time, it does take discipline.
Yep.
It
The
does.
first, sorry, the first step to a, I don't know what it is, 1 mile, 1,000, whatever it is, race is the first step. I wanted to share a comment with you from a previous guest and someone who listens all the time, Lauro Villalobos. We need to find the root of the cancer. And she's commented several times today. But Jessica, besides the fact that I award you an honorary PhD, let's talk about your books, because we promised to have some giveaways tonight, and um, people. I don't want to say our people. I'm going to say it. We don't read a lot, but we need to read more. Because I read just about anything that comes before me, and so Jessica, I want you to talk about what we're going to do tonight. I want you to talk about your books, and yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is anybody who engages, obviously, is commenting, or asking questions. You're gonna get put into a drawing. If you share right now the live, to someone, we're problems and opportunities. You can be a solution to the problem and opportunities that are happening right now. By you just sharing, there's somebody out there who is probably needing, answers. What do I do? Where do I go? Where do I start? And you could be that one person. Now, if you do those two things, then July 19th, which is this Monday by 6 p.m., we're going to go, or I'll go live. Javier, I don't know if they have time, but I promise we'll figure it
Yep,
out. We're going to
we
do
will.
two sets. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm going to give a set away, signed by me, autographed. So you're going to get both books, and another one to someone else that,
Mhm.
hopefully it's going to go into the right hands. And I believe that there's never an accident. Whoever gets these books, it's meant for you. Now,
Mhm.
Spiritual Fitness and Survivors. I don't know if you all have been seeing this. I was asked by Danielle and Emilio Roman. Um, they they have this co-authorship, and there's 22 co-authors in this book. I happen to be chapter 14. Okay, and what it does is it actually speaks of my journey of my first book, Cancer Void. But in this book, I don't want you to think it's only about cancer. These 22 authors speak about every problem, an opportunity, as they say, is out there. You have from military to, maybe women who have gone through rape. There's women on here who have gone through domestic violence. There's even a woman on here who has lost her child. How do you get past, and how did they break through to become a survivor? This is a third special edition. Now, let me tell you, if you guys purchase the book, and this is why I want to come on, if you purchase the book before Saturday and you send me, just proof that you received it, I will send you a link. And you guys, on this Saturday at noon, we're going to have a party, Zoom, private, where you will meet all 22 co-authors.
Oh, my
That's
gosh.
awesome. Oh man,
That is amazing.
wow.
Yeah. So there's so much
Dang.
that I am trying to do for the public to get involved. Let's start, bringing in this community of, come on, you know what I mean? Because it's not just about cancer. We all have a voice, and we need to express
Mhm.
it.
It's not. What I love about that is that it's gonna be virtual. One of the things that the pandemic brought was that we figure out better ways to always stay in touch and talk to each other and meet.
Correct.
That is so awesome. Congratulations for that.
Thank you. Thank you. And so with that, I actually got my award. I don't know if you see it, but this is
Oh,
so
look
I
at
have
that.
this displayed in my living room, and it's so crazy, Javier, when I speak of what my plans were and what
Mhm.
God had planned for me. A lot of the times we just give up on ourselves, not
Right.
knowing what the obstacle, I feel like I'm in the race with the hurdles.
Right.
I jumped a hurdle, maybe I tripped over one, but are you going to get back up? And
Yep.
the finish line is right there,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Sometimes, and that's difficult for people to understand, as far as what the plan is for you. And we're going to call it God's plan. There's all kinds of beliefs and all kinds of things, but um, the plan for you is not necessarily the one you envision, not necessarily the one you wanted, et cetera, et cetera. But then when it comes, at one point, it comes obvious to you. I don't know if you know Inky Johnson, but Inky Johnson is a powerful speaker. Played college football and he got really hurt. Anyway, long story short is his story is always, people always ask him, how can you be so positive about having a career-ending injury even before he got to the NFL? Because he would have got to the NFL. And he has a podcast now called Serendipity, and the message is, because this is what was there for me, and can people accept what the purpose was, for them. From personal experience, it took me, I'm almost, again, closer to 50 than 40. It's been a lifelong journey to understand that whatever that purpose is for me is good enough, is what it is. And so, and then when we talk to people like you, Jessica, and it just makes everything that I'm worried about, like, whatever. So it is a purpose of, and it's hard to understand because what if, what if his life is cut short? What if, why did we lose mom 2 years ago? Why did this, what if, but it doesn't matter because that is the journey you're on. And so,
Well, the what if doesn't exist.
Well,
You know what I mean?
and guys, let's be real. I mean, I believe in miracles, and I believe and I know in my heart that I am a walking miracle, and God has graced me with many blessings to be here even today, to have given me even the quality of life, Javier, that I've had in comparison to, other patients. Okay.
yeah.
When you're sitting here looking at me, and I want people to understand, I'm a stage 4 breast,
Mm-hmm.
lung, bone, esophagus, abdomen, liver cancer. And you're looking at me. I don't look it. I don't show it. I
Yeah.
don't live the part. I don't let cancer dictate me. Now, has it changed my life? Absolutely.
Of course.
But I still have a life worth living. And as I said it before, my mission, my priority, my passion is now to do what I feel, God wants me to do, is use me as a vessel to give others that hope and faith that they can get through this too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just need to believe it. They need to know that they can, but it takes two and two. Yes, you have to have faith. Yes, you have to you have to have that spiritual strength, but you also have to do something about it. You also have to be disciplined. You also have to give yourself that fighting chance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just pray about it and then go eat a Twix. I'm just saying. you know,
Yeah.
now let me shock you, Javier. In 2014, I was given the diagnosis. 2016, I went into hospice. I was expected to decline. At that point, I was in a very bad place. 2018, I bounced back. I exited hospice and got off all traditional medicine to give my body a break. Not because I was supposed to. It was because I felt like that's what I needed to do. So I listened to my body, and I'm very in tune with my body. In saying that, I believe that I gave my body the fighting chance that it needed, not knowing that I would have a relapse in 2020.
Yeah.
And then I went to fight again, but now we're 2021, and I again have stopped everything, and I keep doing this up and down and up and down. And I'm not saying that it's right, wrong, because most doctors and most people would say, Jessica, aren't you scared? Oh my God, like, are you not afraid of death? If you get off, do you know what's going to happen? I'm like, well, they gave me that time frame 2014.
Yep.
But at the same time, do you know what I feel like every day?
Yep.
Do you know what I'm going through, what my body feels like every day? No, I am fighting for a quality of life. I am fighting, to prove that we can one day put this to sleep, and that's God's will, But as of now, then I am going to keep on speaking, preaching, letting people know that it is possible. It is possible. I'm living proof of that. And they can too, Javier. They can too.
Yep. Off topic a little bit, but in a training thing we had this week, we had Ray Lewis. And Ray Lewis is a professional football player with Baltimore Ravens, and similar type of, sort of similar, but the positive message about what you can't and cannot do is always the same, and it is the will to do it, to get better, to excel, to to crush, I'm using the kids' words again, the goals. And I'll tell you, Jessica, for this, um, I don't know that we've had, I know we haven't had any guests that can do it like you do, and you were the one to first say that it's God's will as far as where it goes and what happens, but to give the message, to propel the message to people. I don't know there's a better person than that we've ever certainly that I've ever known for this subject. And gosh, first of all, I'm really appreciative for that. Second of all, your books, what you've written, your thoughts, your expressions. People, I hope not only that they expect to win the book, but that they buy your book and your books, and can understand how the basics work to prevent or to eliminate, whatever we want to call it. But it's just such an amazing. It's hard to put into words, in this podcast, but it's just an amazing thing, and I really want to thank you for that.
No, thank you. In 2015, Javier, I heard the words NED, no evidence of disease. And I remember I was told I would never hear those words. When I heard those words a year later, after going through everything and still, me starting to transition to learning a healthier way, I remember being in that doctor's office and it was surreal, just as surreal when they said my time frame. It was like, wait a minute, you all told me this would never be. And I didn't know how to take it. I mean, even in that room, I broke down. You know what I mean? I was like, ha, my life back. Oh my God. And that's the thing. I think every woman out there, when you're told remission, we ring the bell, ding, 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 and you go into, I'm living my life and nothing's gonna stop me. That was my attitude. And here's the thing, and I'm on here speaking again, not to put fear, but to create awareness. Okay. And I say this because nobody told me and nobody guided me on what I can and cannot do. So when I heard remission, I took it full force, went back to the salon, and eventually, little by little, started doing the same bad habits, thinking I was cured. And then 2016 came, where it came back 10 times fold.
Yeah.
And I see this happening a lot when women and men, it doesn't matter what type of cancer, they'll go into remission 5-10 years later. They say, oh, it just happened to come back. No, it didn't.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. I believe, knowing what I know now, you can be in complete remission and live a long quality life, but you got to keep the body clean.
Yeah.
It is a new life for the rest of your life.
Jessica, but nobody tells you that. When my mom went through remission the first time, just like you're explaining it, I mean, we were extremely happy and excited about the message. And then it's kind of like, okay, but then now what, right? Like, what comes after remission? And the doctor told her, well, you got to keep taking these pills every month, right? But I think she'd take them daily, just to help this. I don't know. It was a weird explanation. I've always doubted those pills myself, because I don't know. It just kind of feels odd that after somebody is clean from cancer, she was cleared and clean of cancer. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me why she needed to continue to take pills. They were kind of like a chemotherapy kind of pill. But anyways, before I get back into Red Hole, Jessica, we have a lot of excellent comments and loving comments. I was going to start reading them off, but if you want to go back and read through these, everybody has just been very, very excited to have you back in our show. My brother and I, we love the message.
Hmm.
You know, I think again, I'm gonna go back to the biggest thing for me. I think the mental state, our mental state, even when our loved one is gone, we see a lot of struggles.
Hmm.
There was a few that were say, oh, it'll pass. As time passes, you're gonna feel better and things like that. You don't.
Nope.
No, you don't.
You
You
know, you
don't.
don't. You don't, because specifically for us, and my brother, my sister, and I talk about it all the time. As more things happen in our lives, whether it's personal, professionally, and things like that, there's no longer that one person that used to have all the answers, right? And for me, at least, and I know for my brother and my sister, it's true too. It does get worse. It gets worse, and it gets worse, and it gets worse, and so
Or just to, I'm sorry, or
yeah.
just to make you feel better, just to give you that good word that, yeah.
So it's not true. It doesn't get better.
Well, and
But
and and,
but
and
things, meeting people. Sorry to interrupt. Meeting people like you, and and going, watching you, reading your books, and hearing your testimony and things like that. Those are the type of things that help a lot. They really do, because again, the mind is very powerful, and the mind can make it to do things really, really dumb things really fast. And I think, I'll call myself out. There's a lot of things that sometimes I'm like, oh man, like I need help, because
Hmm.
you get a little unstable.
yeah. Well, um, George, I completely understand. In this book, my second book, I do talk about death. I talk about, you know, even for me, like that's why I say only God knows, am I gonna hear the words, remission again or NED? If I get NED, I better be on the Oprah show. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Because
I
my
love it.
goodness.
I love
I do
it.
love
I
that.
love it.
Mhm.
But and I'm out there to prove that it's possible, and I'm gonna stop at nothing to to not let that happen. But
I'll make some phone calls.
but let me tell you, in here I do speak about it because we go back to the reality of it. I am living with a terminal disease. And every time I go to the doctor and I get my CT scans, it's like, okay, where are
Mhm.
we? And I look at everything and I've become
Mhm.
so like, I don't even really need the doctors to read it because I've been good at
Hmm.
reading the charts myself now. So
Yeah.
I already know, you know what I mean? Before they give me the bad news, I already know where the news is at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is what I gotta fix. And now I strategize. Okay, this isn't working. I'm tossing this out. I'm bringing this in. And I do things and I do things. And that's why I know my journey is not over because
Yeah.
there's so much more that I have done new that I haven't discussed that I'm going to keep on searching for. And if I find that missing piece, whoo,
Woo.
I'm going to scream and scream until the top of my lungs so
Oh
that
yeah.
others out there have an opportunity. But in this book, okay, and I'm just saying, if and when, because we all know we're born and we all know we're gonna die.
Hmm.
That's a promise. That's a promise.
Yeah.
We just don't know when.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it's not a matter of the date born and the date deceased. You
Hmm.
know what's important?
The
The
dash.
dash.
That dash. Yep.
The
Absolutely.
dash. So
Hmm.
in here, I speak of the dash. And
Awesome.
for me, that is the legacy, is
Hmm.
leaving something behind that was bigger than you. And George and Javier, I want to commend you because you guys are problems and opportunities, even though you have your lives and your jobs and you are making your mom proud by doing what you do in trying to create solutions or awareness for others out there.
Yeah.
And that is amazing because that is your job. That you don't even realize it, but you are doing it. And together we come together and we make it happen. And there's many people out there who are listening, who are saying, "Oh my God, I didn't know. You know, I didn't think anybody understood me." Well, I
Hmm.
do. I've been in your shoes. I am in your shoes. And you're not alone. But the thing is, how are you going to get through it? What choices are you going to make for your life? I can't make those choices for you,
Right.
but I can help you.
Yeah.
And that's what I've left behind.
Well, Jessica, I will tell you one thing. I mean, thank you for your beautiful comments. But I will tell you one thing that or my brother, my son, my sister, we realize we've never been closer than we are today,
Yeah.
right? And we don't agree with everything, and we're very, very different. My brother and I, we're like night and day, for sure. But I can tell you that one of the things that we always talk about is we always comment, man, I wish my mom would be here, would be listening. But we know she is. We know she is,
Yeah.
right? And I tell you, we've never been closer. Jessica, we could talk about this till 4 a.m. tomorrow. We could just keep
I
going.
know.
And we
I
might need to
know.
have a third show, but for the sake of time, I just it was so wonderful to have you. I do, before we always end our shows with crystallizing, having our guests crystallizing, but I do want to tell everybody, remind everybody that we have some book giveaways from Jessica. And the way you get a chance to win her books is comment, question, or share this live feed on your Facebook, and we'll have our selection. We're gonna have a raffle, and we'll do that by Monday, end of business Monday, so 5 p.m. Monday. We'll announce the winners of the books, and they'll be sent. Will be sent by our guest. Thank you so much for that, Jessica. I know our guests will love your books and to read them. Jessica, so to end our show,
But,
gosh, I don't even know if you can crystallize it anymore than you have already.
Let me interrupt for a minute.
Go ahead.
I apologize for the screen situation because it's me producing the show. We usually have a producer, but he was unavailable tonight, so I want to
So our
apologize for the
producer, my
poor-
son Israel, had a complete calendar booked.
Yeah.
He was completely booked,
Wow.
which is pretty awesome, actually.
That's a good problem to have.
So I'm running the screens, and I didn't do a good job. So for those of you listening, thank you, and thank you for your patience. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. But let's go back to the book. Let's go back to the topic.
Yeah. So Jessica, in your own words, how would you like to end the show? What would you like to crystallize?
I want everybody to know that no matter where you are in life, these books, life itself, I know it's a very scary topic when you hear cancer, but knowing what I know now, I know for a fact, and I know this is a powerful statement, but I'm going to say it. I know for a fact that cancer can be prevented. And if you have cancer, you can take control. It does not have to control you. And you can live a life worth living with love, goals, achievements. And I want to say one of the most important things, at least for myself, is the quality of life that I've been given. More than anything is quality of life. Because in my case, I can't speak for people who are in remission. I'm talking terminal. You know what? But I also believe, and my goal is to prove to everybody that one day I'll come back with another diagnosis of NED. No evidence of disease. And when that happens, we'll have another book.
Good deal.
For sure.
Jessica, they're asking us for the title. We're gonna put them on the live feed thread, but can you give us the title of your books?
Yes. Cancer Void is my first book because I named it that since there's such a void when it comes to cancer. And Cancer Guiding Light, Cancer Void 2, Cancer Guiding Light. And real quick, I just have to say, I want to thank Randall Trail because he's my publisher in this. Oh my God. Hands down, did he help me? He's an awesome entrepreneur. I need to get in touch with you guys about him because he'd be a great person to interview. He's very successful with many businesses in El Paso. I did not know he was a publisher, book writer, that would do this. And he actually reached out to me and said, Jessica, I believe in your cause and I want to help you.
That's awesome.
And he said,
We got to meet this man.
I know you do, Javier. I got this with you. I'm telling you, he's
All
a
right.
good guy. So, Randall Trail, thank you. God bless you. I could not have done this without you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Jessica. And goes without say that we love, your enthusiasm and your excitement. It's very, it is near and dear to our hearts. But I think in general, for our viewers, it's always it's an amazing show. No matter what we do or we talk about. Thank you so
Well,
much.
I'm glad.
Thank you so much for your time. I know we're all very busy, but I think we really strongly feel this is very important and your message is very palpable. And like I said, we just love to have you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Jessica. And for all of you who have watched and will watch, thank you so much. This is such an important message. Jessica really has a powerful message, and most of it we can't go over in an hour's time or a little over an hour's time. So we will end today with this great message. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for everyone who watched. So for my brother, we are problems.
And for my brother and opportunities. Thank you, everybody, for being with us tonight.